This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Louie Tee, host of the Louie Tee Network, and this is One Burning Question, a series that will take a look at all 32 teams in the National Football League and pose a question. Some teams will have micro questions where we look at the team in its current state and talk about what could potentially happen for them in this season, and some will take a macro approach where we kind of open up the lens a bit and take a step back and look at it from a wide view look and perspective and talk about where these franchises might be going in the future, not just this season, but moving forward. So I'll take a look at each and every single team, ask a burning question, answer that question, and move on to the next team. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy One Burning Question. Welcome to this In the Lab Room exclusive One Burning Question. I, of course, am your host, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me on this program. Today, we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers and their franchise, and what a far cry this team is from where they were just 2 seasons ago. And it's a shame what has happened to this historically good franchise, because they're about to go through a stretch of football where they're going to be bad like it was in the early 2000s before they got Alex Smith. And really, when they got Alex Smith, they still struggled for another 2 years before the light bulb came on. And I think they're about to go through another one of those periods, because I just don't like the way this organization is being run. And so let's get into the one burning question for the San Francisco 49ers. Can the 49ers organization win despite having John Edward York as its CEO, aka Jed York, as their CEO? Jed York is running this franchise into the ground, and there's no one there to stop him. And sometimes organizations, and it's very frustrating, because sometimes when you have a CEO or an owner that just is out of control, you need checks and balances. But what happens when the guy that's running the organization into the ground is the judge, the jury, and the executioner? It's so frustrating as a fan base when your owner is the one stopping you from winning and there's not a damn thing you can do about it, because he doesn't understand what he's doing wrong to impact the team. Everything he's doing in his mind is in the best interest of the team. Sometimes it's in the best interest of his wallet as well, but in his mind, it's all for the best for the team. It's all for the good of the team. It's all for the good of the organization. But it's not. And Jed York, he's clueless, has no idea what he's doing, and it's amazing. It's almost like you turned over the organization to a 14-year-old kid and you said, here, you have no experience, you don't know what the hell you're doing, you can't even drive a car. Here, take this organization and do with it what you please. And he's just running this thing into the ground. His relationship with Jim Harbaugh, that's been well documented. He ran him out of town, and maybe he was starting to grow thin in San Francisco, period. I mean, maybe he was wearing thin on the players, maybe he was wearing thin on the coaches, but look, Jim Harbaugh was the best thing to happen to that organization in the last decade and a half. And to see how that ended tumultuously and to see where they're going now, it's just sad. It really is. And you don't have the right guys in there to get this thing going in the right direction. And Jed York is the biggest problem, because he simply doesn't know what he's doing. And he puts his foot in his mouth continuously, and he continues to make poor decisions. And I don't have a problem with the hiring of Jim Thompson. I don't. I would have loved to have seen Vic Fangio get an opportunity, but it just needed to be somebody in-house. So I didn't have a problem with them hiring Jim Tomsula. Sometimes I look at Jim Tomsula and I'm saying to myself, you look like you're in over your head, buddy. You know, when you come from being a defensive line coach, and they've talked about his travel and his path to NFL head coach, and it's a very humbling one. He came from humbling beginnings, but I would love to see Vic Fangio get an opportunity with that team and the way it's set up. And you want to know why everybody's bailing on that franchise? They see the writing on the wall there. We're not there every day, but they have been. You know, when a guy like Justin Smith decides to hang it up, even when his wife is saying, normally your wife is like, yeah, baby, you need to stop playing football. It's long enough, and let's start raising our family. And his wife's like, no, go play. And he's like, no, I'm good. I don't really like where this is going. I'm done. Patrick Willis is like, and to his credit, he just said, look, I know when my body's telling me I can't do what I used to do and I'm done. You know, and I get that. But maybe in the back of his mind, he's saying too, hey, Coach Harbs isn't here anymore, and I don't like where this ship is going. I'm done. You know, I'm done. You know, it's easier to say that when the situation isn't ideal. And again, Jed York and what he's done to this organization, it's fraudulent. Because this is a team, they have some talent on that football team. They have a lot of the pieces that you need. They've taken Colin Kaepernick and reduced him to a shell of himself. He has no confidence. He doesn't know which way up is, which way down is. He doesn't know if he's coming, if he's going. It's a product of his environment. He has no confidence out there, zero. And it's really frustrating. It's unfortunate. And until someone gets a hold of Jed York, slaps some sense into him, or he just says, you know what, I'm not cut out for this. I'll let somebody else do this, until he steps aside or wakes up, smells the coffee, and is able to allow football guys to make football decisions. This organization isn't going to be in the discussion for best team in the NFC, best team in the NFC West, Super Bowl competitor, Super Bowl caliber football team. It's just not run the right way. And I talked about this with the Browns. It starts at the top. If there is any kind of distrust or any kind of confusion in the front office, it's hard for the product on the field to represent anything other than dysfunction. And Jed York is the definition of dysfunction in San Francisco. So I'll read this question once more. Can the 49ers organization win despite having John Edward York as its CEO? Jed York. I don't know. I hope so. Because I like when the 49ers are good. The league is better when the 49ers are good. But Jed York is not good. And he's not good for that organization. And until someone is able to get a hold of him and tell him about himself, or he's able to realize, I'm not doing the best of jobs, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and let the football guys control that ship, I think the 49ers are in for one hell of a tailspin. That's the one burning question for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm Louie Tee. See you next time.